Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is April 21st, 2020. And today on the podcast, we have Cameron Deerfield, returning guest, and Justin's back with us. So we're talking about mobile setups and a whole bunch of other stuff. Welcome to the Fall Podcast. And back with us this week is Justin, co-host, trusty, Batman and Robin. What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing good. Today, we're recording this on Sunday, April 19th. Actually, yesterday, our Michigan's turkey season opened, but today, I was successful. First morning out. I filmed yesterday morning, but this morning was the first morning that I had a weapon, and pretty cool hunt, man.
Yeah, I want to hear about that. I got the Snapchat earlier this morning.
Yeah.
It went from hammering over there to he gone.
Yeah, it was crazy. Basically, the birds, we didn't even roost the birds last night. We just, on our family farm, we have, usually there's about 4 or 5 different spots where they're always roosted every year. And my buddy and I, Pat Cook, and my dad, he was supposed to go. It was raining this morning, and he'd end up showing up till late, but we won't talk about that. But so Pat and I went up there, and it was raining, so I didn't take a camera. I brought the stuff with me, but didn't take a camera. I did bring a GoPro, and then Pat, he filmed it on his phone. He's got like the latest and greatest iPhone, and it's pretty ridiculous what you can do with those things and shooting 4K 30p and stuff like that. So I'm like, he had already killed yesterday, so he was just there kind of for moral support, calling when I needed him to call. And then just, him and I do a lot of turkey hunting together. His dad and my dad have been best friends for a long time, and him and I just kind of keep the tradition alive, and we've been turkey hunting forever together. So I actually called his bird in for him last year when he shot on our family farm. So we set up early this morning, and the birds, we owl hooted a couple times, tried to locate him, nothing. We had a Avian X Jake decoy that we just put out, no hens, and we just put him out, and we sat down literally just hoping that they're going to be in the same spot. And our property's getting logged off right now, and there's no foliage on the trees at all right now. So, you can see through the trees like crazy right now. And we set the decoy out on the edge of the field, and we kind of nestle in, and I'm like, it's getting to be that gray light. It was right when I sent you the Snapchat. It's pretty dark still, but the toms started gobbling in the back. So, they were probably, it sounded like they were far away, but they were honestly probably within 200 yards of us. So we felt like we were in the chips. And every morning that I'd go up there, the last week, those toms would be up in that corner of that field where we were at. So I felt like, we'll just sit here, let it play out, and see what happens. Once they started gobbling, me personally, I love to hear turkeys gobble. And in the past, it's so easy to overcall. I really like using a slate call, and I got the slate out, and I just started doing some slight, tree yelps, just to kind of let them know that I'm there. And too, you can overcall so easy, and I think, and I've went through it, I think you love to hear turkeys gobble back to you, and it just gets you excited, so you just keep call, and then birds usually, they maybe won't come in or hang up, or because you're trying to play the game of like, that tom wants the hen, he wants you to go to him, I want him to come to me. So you're like that whole give and take kind of thing.
You're doing the opposite of what they're supposed to do.
Right. You're fighting against nature, really.
Right.
And a couple years ago, Alyssa and I were on a hunt, and same kind of thing. We set up, and bird would gobble, 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 and I'd just call. He'd gobble, gobble, gobble. He'd come out in the field and wouldn't come any closer. He was at like 200 yards. And I'm like, you know what? I just kind of actually got tired. Like, didn't want to call anymore. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I just shut up, and it literally was 3 minutes, and he just was like, got curious. I got to go look for it. And he came on a string right to us. And that was like one of those you kind of screw up moments to like learn something. Ever since that day, I'm like, you got to tone her back. So, so back to this morning, did a couple tree yelps, and all of a sudden I look up on the edge of the field, and 3 hens fly right down into our set. And I mean, they were right above us, and I'm like, crap, this is not good. And they just started picking around and started purring and, doing the feeding purrs and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, we might be all right. And, I mean, there was gobbling all over. I mean, there had to have been 10, 12 gobblers all over our farm this morning. And so the 3 hens came out, and all of a sudden, it was about 5 minutes later, a tom came out behind them, and he's the definition of a subordinate tom. Just a wussy. Like, he comes out at like 150 yards, and he would only go into half strut. And he would, spit and drum. You'd hear him spit and drum every time. Half strut, half strut, half strut. And you'd you'd call to him a little bit. And at that point, I was trying to get the hens mad at me to try to get him to come over, but he would not. Like, he just didn't want to go over there. He's had his ass kicked a couple times, I think. And he stayed out at about 150 yards. And, I mean, this went on for like 20, 30 minutes. And we're just sitting there, and I'm like, I told Pat, I'm like, they're not going to come in unless these hens come in to this, to our set. And they weren't going to come in. They were probably 75, 80 yards out. And all of a sudden, over my left shoulder, I kind of catch something. I look over, and here comes a strutter out of nowhere, comes in silent, coming right for the Jake. And when I saw him, he's at 40 yards, and he's full strut coming, and I'm like, oh God. I go, Pat, right here. And I'm like, this is gonna work great. He comes in, he stops at about 35 yards. He looks at the hens, and then he keeps looking at the Jake. And you could tell his brain was like, should I go beat the hell out of that Jake, or should I really go over there and just try to, wheel those hens? And he was fighting with himself, you could tell. And he started veering off full strut. I finally got to get my gun up. So I'm like, I didn't have a rest or nothing. I'm just freehanding this gun. And I got my mouth call in, and he will not come out of full strut. And he's probably 40, 45 yards, I'm thinking at the time. And I'm like, just move your head a little bit. And I just keep cutting hard at him just to get him to at ease a little bit and get his head out. And then I looked at Pat. I'm like moving. I go, I don't know what to do. I like that loud. Just hoping he'd just be like, what was that movement over there? Nothing. Full strut whole time. I'm like, oh my gosh. Finally, he just gave me a little bit, and I just put the starvation bead on him and just let her eat. And
starvation bead.
I'll tell you what, though, man. I mean, this was a poke. I mean, a lot of people don't take vacations this far. I felt like it was so far. And he rolls, and turkeys flop. No flop. Done. I mean, Stoned him right there. I run out there and paste it off 45 yards and just dunzos. The Winchester SX3 I shot him with Longbeard XR. I did a pattern video on it the other day. 3.5-inch Longbeard XR 5-shot, and that was all she wrote.
I think 5s are my favorite for a turkey for shotguns.
Yeah.
Like 4 is almost a little bit too much, like, because if you get that close range shot, you're making a mess. But I think 5 is like right in that sweet spot.
I agree, and honestly, I usually don't shoot 3.5s, and I don't have any 3s, and I had a box of 3.5s this year, and I'm like, well, I'll just dive into these, I guess. It won't hurt. I went and did that pattern video because honestly, I feel terrible saying this, but I haven't patterned this gun. I've had this gun this is my 3rd season with it now. And I haven't patterned the gun. It's like I said, a Winchester SX3 Longbeard version, and it's got the standard Longbeard choke that comes with it, and the turkey choke. So I went and did a video, and it'll come out here too soon on our digital. I patterned at 20, 30, 40, and then I shot one at 70 for shits and giggles. But 20 was a touch high. So I mean, too, and a lot of people listening to this probably know, those beads, you can't really move the bead on a shotgun. So my whole thing was like, I just want to see where the nucleus of my pattern was, like where my point of impact is from where I'm aiming. And it was a little high, but it was tight at 20 yards. 30 yards, money. I mean, 30 yards for that setup, put the bead right on him, let her eat, and there's so many BBs in the head on that, and it was still pretty tight. Now, when I went to 40, it actually, it spread out a little bit more. I can't remember how many BBs were in the head, but it was a little sporadic, and it was a little high right. I think it was high right. So I think that's a little more right, I guess. So knowing that, I, did the best, and it worked out. I mean, this bird did not flop at all. So
just
I don't know. Oh yeah, and I agree with you. The five shot is probably my favorite as well. But yeah, it worked out pretty darn good. So I'm done. I actually ate them for dinner tonight. So full circle today.
Perfect. Can't ask for anything more.
No, well, you can. I'm gonna get greedy. I wish we could shoot 2 birds in Michigan, but we only shoot 1. So yeah, but I kind of parlay. I do want to ask you about your turkey season. I know you started hunting this weekend, but to parlay a little bit first into, we got a long season. It goes into June this year, I think, and now it's just, yeah. We have a season. I believe it goes to like June 7th. First time I've ever seen that. But I was looking for a new box call yesterday online, and I went to my turkey vest the other day, and my box call smashed. I don't know how, in storage or whatever, and I'm like, shit. So I need to get a new box call. So I was looking at box calls and found one that I liked, and so then I typed into Google, see what kind of deals and where you could get them from. Well, Shields came up, and it had a deal on Shields. It was like 20% off or something like that. So I went there and ordered it, but in the meantime, I was like, I'm going to check out decoys because I want to get a new strutter decoy, and typed in Avian X or whatnot, and the Avian X strutter, LCD strutter decoy, was on sale from $130 to $80, and it was all free shipping, and I said, yep, getting that. So I bought
you
those.
Just can't turn away.
No, you can't. You really can't. And now my season's already over, so unless this COVID shit lifts and we can go to Ohio or something, because we've got a lease down there and tons of birds, so we'll see. But yeah, so I did that. But I guess what I'm getting at is now it's a guide season for me, so take the call and take the decoy and go get my buddies a whole bunch of birds. So I really enjoy that too.
Well, that's awesome. I'm still looking for the one.
You're looking for the one?
Well, yeah, I'm looking for my first bird. We can shoot 2 here, and I've got 2 tags.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm still looking for the first one.
What happened this morning? Or you didn't go this morning. You went midday, right?
Yeah, I'd intended on going yesterday morning, first thing, but every place I go, whether I deer hunt or turkey hunt or shit, just to go fishing or do whatever, it's an hour away. I live in downtown Des Moines, man, and it's killing me.
Yeah, and that's an aggressive wake up time too.
Oh my God, is it? It's only going to get worse, honestly. It's going to get lighter sooner the further the season goes. So it's right now is the best I could ask for, and I got to leave my house by 3:45 in order to get to the farm with enough time to haul a blind in there, put decoys out, set up tripods, cameras, all that bullshit, and give it a half hour to wake up. And that's if I know where the birds are. I'm not going down there the night before roosting birds, because it's an hour down there, hour back home just to get 5 hours of sleep, an hour back down there to hunt, and then shit, if I don't kill a bird in the first hour, I'm committed to staying there till noon. Then I'm just. And
you guys can only hunt till noon, right?
No, we can hunt all day.
Oh, you can. Missouri, you can only hunt till noon.
Yeah, I know.
I think Missouri's the. Yeah, I killed a bird in Missouri a couple years ago, literally at like 11:45, 11:50, and I was like, "This sucks." Like, I grew
Yeah.
up being able to hunt all day, you know.
That's how New York was, before I moved to Iowa, and that's how it's been my whole life in New York. Was May 1st to May 31st, from 30 minutes before sunrise until noon. So I mean, I'm used to that, but man, it's a freaking grind.
It is. You get the turkey sleeps, man, and now, we've got all of our crew that we're trying to film and everything like that, and still, we got a little gobbler club here that we've had for years now, and trying to get all these other people on birds. So I'm going to be filming, and it's just one day after another, early.
Oh yeah,
turkey sleeps.
Yes, I know, and that's what happened to me yesterday. The alarm went off at 3:00, and I wasn't drunk. I didn't do anything stupid the night before. I woke up. The alarm went off at 3:00, and I was like, "Screw that,
snooze."
Not happening." And I sat there, hit snooze till 5:30 until I turned it off, and then I woke up at 8, and I didn't do anything. I took my pre-workout. I did some pull-ups on the old doorway pull-up bar because all our gyms are closed. So did enough to feel like I made my day worth waking up for, and then I put mulch in the front flower beds and did a bunch of laundry, like just all the house bullshit you do on the weekends. And then
oh yeah.
Today, last night I went to bed. I was asleep by probably 8:45. It was amazing.
I was the same way, man. Earliest I've been to bed in a while.
Yeah, it felt great. And I woke up bright and early today. I was up at 4:30 without the alarm, no problem. I got up, made breakfast. Me and Allie ate breakfast, fed the dogs, did our morning routine, coffee, had the caffeine in you, and everything was flowing, and it was like 7:00, and I was like, all right, now we can go. And I looked for the mid-morning birds. I drove down there, and we just walked around the farm. We did almost 5 miles on the farm, just walking and talking. And I'm using a bow, so I had a ground blind, 2 tripods, 2 chairs, 2 cameras, all my stuff. Me and Allie, decoys, everything. Hiked it around for almost 5 miles today. Heard one gobble.
Oh, man, that sucks.
It was about 1:30, and we hit Casey's, got a pizza and a couple tall boy Arnie Palmers, and we sat there at the farm and ate pizza and just soaked up the sun for another hour and went home.
There you go. Yeah, and I was going to tell you too, I didn't shoot the bow. I wanted to shoot the bow this year on a turkey. I haven't done it in a couple years, and last night I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the gun, and I wanted to double this morning with my dad, and I was like, just take the gun and do that. So gonna have to wait another year on the old bow, but honestly, not that it wasn't a lot of work, but I just haven't shot my bow enough. I haven't really had a lot of time, working from home and trying to get as much work done as you can. I just haven't had a lot of time, and I didn't feel really that comfortable with the bow yet. So I just decided to take the gun. Let's go.
Have you ever killed a turkey with a bow? Ever?
I've killed 9 with a bow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was 2018, 2 years ago, was the first bird I killed with a gun. With a gun since like 2009 or 10, something like that. At that point, I was like, you know what? I've never shot one with a bow before, and I'm like, I'm going to go shoot one with a bow. And then I did, and I'm like, okay, this is fun. And I just kept shooting with a bow year after year. And then it got to the point again where I'm like, I kind of want to take a gun now. And then did the gun thing. And then last year I did the gun thing. And then, this year with the gun. Either way, it's fun. It's just kind of one of those get bored a little bit, let's switch it up kind of thing.
Yep, that's where I'm at. Like, I took the bow today just because I I bought the Bomar nose button and I tied it onto my string and I was shooting in the yard and I was like, I don't get it, man. I really don't, but I'll be damned if my groups didn't tighten up. And I bring my bow up to the target and my bubble is dead center every time. Like, as soon as I put that thing on my nose, bow squared up and I'm locked. Like, there's no floating around trying to settle my nose on the string. Like, I don't use a kisser button. So, selfless plug to the Bomar nose button. $10, freaking worth it.
Well, don't get too far into that. I want to talk about that eventually. I know you and I need to do a little catch-up podcast, and it's something I've been kind of looking into, and I know you said you were going to get one, so that might be something we just dive into on another podcast. We might even do it this week, maybe. I want to dive into some products. We usually do a product podcast, and maybe we'll dive into that this week or something for the upcoming fall. And sure. I know we did one last year about after ATA about the new products that were coming out and what we kind of wanted to try. So maybe we'll do that. But I'd like to know, you've been shooting your bow. I want to know more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm all for that. Like I love that idea because I'm still waiting on my new bow. Matthews has the doors chained shut right now, so I was supposed to have a new VXR by now, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so it could be a while. I really don't know. As long as this COVID shit needs to fucking pass, man. I'll tell you, it's getting ridiculous right now. So
it is. That's a whole nother ball of wax, but
it is.
I'm sticking with the bow. I bought 2 turkey tags. Iowa has 4 seasons. I got second season and fourth season, and I'm going to run my bow for all of second season, and then if I haven't killed anything or whatever happens, I'm picking up the gun for the fourth season. But I want to make a headshot on a turkey with a sever. Like I just want to make a good clean 15-yard headshot with a broadhead on purpose.
Yep. I like it, man. You need to do it.
In 120.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
If I had 2 turkey tags this year, I would have done the same thing.
I got to try.
But,
all right, 20 minutes in, and this was supposed to be 5 minutes long. So.
I said 5 to 8 minutes, and my story got too long. But let's get into this week's podcast. We had Cameron Deerfield on. I've had Cameron on before. I don't think you've been on the previous 2 podcasts. You were always running around doing something. Nope. And we kind of get into a little BS session, but, I mean, the main theme was, like, mobile setups, talked about mobile setups, and then we got into some other stuff, just BS shit. So let's get into this, man. And good to have you back here, and I think we'll have you back for the foreseeable future for a while anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to drop another little bomb here quick to leave you hanging. But I'm officially unemployed. Basemap eliminated my position, so I'm a free agent, and we can talk about that for as long or as little as we like down the road.
Yep. You got your prospects out there. You're seeking, but we're just in a situation right now where not a lot of people are hiring. So I feel bad for you, man. You're keeping your head above water. I know you are. But yeah, we'll be on the phone another 2 hours talking about that.
Oh yeah, another day, another case of beer.
Yep. Well, cool, man.
Right.
Everybody, if I'm gonna say it one more time. If you guys are looking for any promo codes, we still are running promo codes on IamHumanimal.com. Go there. I think we got 5 or 6 promo codes. America's Best Bowstrings is one for sure. Banks Blinds. And I don't have the list in front of me, so you'll just have to go there and look. IamHumanimal.com. Redeem those codes and get your guys self some cool gear. So with that being said, let's get to this interview with Cameron. All right, today back on another podcast. It is April, turkey season here in Michigan and just about everywhere. It's all started, and I got Justin back on with me this week, and we've got a return guest for the third time, Cameron Deerfield. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Good. Just living and trying to survive all this COVID,
I see that you're living pretty well down there. I mean, just finding sheds every day, living the life, and now you're just scouring maps and selling all your compound equipment and going trad. What gives, man? I just talked to you not too long ago, and you're going a total different direction on me.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, the whole trad thing, that was something that I said I was going to do if I shot my target buck. And I've kind of been wanting to do it for the last, 3 or 4 years, but I've been chasing really big deer, and I just was being a complete pansy about it. So, now I just, it's kind of just something that I've just kind of completely dove into, I guess.
I like it, man. Take a risk. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, it's not so much risky now. I mean, I don't have like any super megas that I'm chasing. I'm just going to have, older, good deer. And I don't have I'm not going to put so much pressure on just shooting a single deer. Just go out and have fun,
For sure. Yep.
I hear that.
Well, I'm glad you and I kind of briefly talked. I wanted to get on this podcast and just kind of do a bullshit session, really. But I did want to talk about something. I want to get out there first, and we'll hit on this, and then kind of wherever it goes, we'll go. But big thing right now is mobile hunting, and I kind of want to pick both of your brains. Justin, I know I've talked to you at length about it too, but it's something you went strictly to a couple years ago, and Cameron, I know you did the same thing.
Yeah.
And my mobile, I guess the way I'm mobile is not probably the same as everybody else's mobile, what you would think mobile hunting is. Mine's more of, see a deer do something, then like take the stand down, get over there and hang it and hunt it. Like that's kind of like a hang and bang, like mobile for me. I'm fiddling around, and I even talked about it last year. I feel like I've broken record right now, talking probably about the same time on a podcast about how I wanted to go mobile, but I want to get into it, pick your guys' brain a little bit, and just kind of the things that have went well for us and you guys, and things that didn't go so good, and what you'd change and stuff, and maybe our setups, and because it's something I definitely want to do a couple times this year, and I'll explain why I don't want to do it and why it intrigues me. So if that's good with you guys, I want to dive into that.
Yeah.
Well, Cameron, we'll start with you, man. Like, when did you strictly, start going mobile? I mean, were you, like, growing up, were you always like a set stand guy, like set them up before the season and then like get in and hunt like that way?
Well, when I was real young, like 9 to 10, 11, we had property in a different county that we hunted, and I used a climber growing up. And then I started to hunt more of the farmland when I was about 15, 16, and my parents wouldn't buy me a lock-on because they said it wasn't safe, and you really couldn't use a climber because there's no, like, super big trees. So I started hunting just, like, fence, like, I'd find like a real thick fence row or, like, a deadfall, and I would just sit there and just learn to watch deer. And then I got into hunting set stands for about 3 or 4 years, and I shot deer, but it wasn't near as fun, and you could really mess up your season quick. And I think 2017 is when I went fully mobile, and it was a complete. That season I shot my target buck in like 10 days.
And for mobile for you, was that like what everybody else, kind of says mobile is? Take the stand and sticks on your back, go in, set it, hang, or, set it up, hang, hunt, and then when you're done, you get down, take it down with you, and then you keep moving. Is that your mobile?
Yeah. And when I first started, it was nothing glorious, man. It was like an old wild game stand that weighed like 22 pounds. And like these old, I think they were like Field and Stream sticks. And, it was a super heavy setup, and it wasn't very handy. But at the time, I didn't really know any better. I just knew, that was way lighter than carrying in, a full set of sticks and everything. So, it definitely has gotten better. I definitely use a whole lot better gear now.
You're right, and it's gotten a lot better. If you go, even Millennium has a good, mobile stand now, but Custom Gear, Lone Wolf, and XOP, they're kind of the OGs, in my opinion, for the run and gun. They're specifically made for that, kind of like kits. They have like the sticks and stand combo, all that stuff. So it's definitely geared towards that. I know that. And Justin, I know you kind of switched recently too. I mean, is that something that you felt like you needed to do that to, be more successful, or was it just kind of forced into it because you started hunting public land?
I guess it's probably a combination of both. I don't really see the the benefit of having multiple options. I'm one of those guys that second guesses yourself to death every single chance you get. And number one, I don't need more than one setup. I don't own land. I don't have a lease. I am hunting public land in Iowa, and I want to be able to adapt based on what I see or don't see. And if that means moving 20 yards or moving 200 miles, I don't want to worry about going back to get something when the season's over, or worry about if it's going to be there when the season's over, for that matter. I just decided I'm going to spend the money on good stuff one time. I'll always have it, and this is how I'm going to hunt.
Yeah, I get that too. I mean, Cameron, with you, do you see, I don't know, do you ever see yourself going back to hanging set stands in some areas? Because I guess what I'm getting at is, my property's here. I've got a big chunk that's over 200 and some acres, and I got a smaller chunk with smaller timber. And I guess my thing is with the smaller timber one, I'm talking 3-4 acres, is I feel like I need to have set stands in there because, if I need to sneak in and get in quietly without hanging a stand, if there's a deer bedded close by, I'm battling with that in my head. Is that something that you see yourself going to a set stand on smaller pieces, a little timber where you have to get in tight, or are you still doing the mobile and trying to get in as tight as you can?
No, I'm still I'm completely mobile. And the reason I say that is because, I don't have a whole lot of time to hunt, so I don't have a whole lot of time to waste. And if I'm going after a deer and say the wind isn't perfect, being mobile, I can still go in there and hunt him. And it's just little stuff like that could be, a matter of shooting a deer on the 10th day of season or on the 100th day of season.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can't say never, because once my kids, start hunting stuff, I'll do it for them. But for me personally, no. I don't think I could ever go back to just sit and set stands. Now, I've killed deer out of the same tree, but that's just because this is a really good spot.
Right. Yep. Now, what's your setup? What are you running for sticks and stand?
XOP sticks and a Millennium M70 and an M100.
Okay. Now, are you, with those sticks, are you using 8ers or anything like that, or are you just strictly,
No.
How many sticks are you using?
I'm using 4, and the reason I like the XOP sticks is because they have that where they all lock in.
Yep.
And I just really, really like that feature, because you can throw that strap over your shoulder, climb that tree, and take each stick off as you go up, and have your stand and pack on. Get up in the tree, or get up to your height. Throw your stand on. Throw your hook in. Throw your hook back on, and the whole time your bow's laying down there with the rope tied to your book bag or your pants or something.
Yep.
You go ahead and pull the bow up, and boom, you're done.
How long is it taking you to set up in a stand?
Depends. If it's around Thanksgiving and I've been snacking, it takes a little bit longer. But normally, I don't know. I can probably full set up 15 minutes, 12 to 15, 12 on a really, really good day on not a real hard set, and probably 15 to 18 on a super hard set.
I gotcha. Are you taking a hands-on too if you need to cut limbs, or are you mostly going back to trees that you've been to before and that are, mostly trimmed out already?
No, I have, I do carry a saw with me. Snips I find are a little bit better. They just cut a lot more and faster and better, and I just like them better. So I'll more so carry them. But yeah, I mean, and sometimes I do hunt trees that I know that, you know, during that time of season are gonna, if there's a big deer there, it'll probably be useful.
For sure. And you know, when you're getting in, like, what are you, are you layering down to climb up and then getting in and kind of layering back up, or how does that work? I mean, you don't want to be sweating, right?
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, so I don't really get dressed until I'm actually in my stand. I mean, I have, like, you know, like real thin, like, pants on and stuff like that, but my shirts and everything, I don't wear anything like that. As soon as I get in stand, I actually wipe down, and you know, and if it's warm, I'll wear, you know, face mask and all that.
Right.
Like like when it's warm, I'll wear like a super light one, just
Mm-hmm.
you know, because if I'm sweating, because when it's, you know, early season, you're going to sweat just sitting there, you know.
For sure. And, you know, you said you have Millenniums, so you have an M7 and M100. You know, they got the ratchet strap for the stand. Did you replace that with anything, or are you using the ratchet strap?
Ratchet, for
Are
sure.
you?
My 100, I think it was, actually came with the chain mount. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But,
I got you. Yeah, because I've got an M7, and that is a light stand. I think it's like 7 pounds, and the seat is about
yeah,
the
I mean,
most
it's
comfortable
tiny.
thing there is.
It's tiny, but I mean, it's worth it, you know.
Yep. Justin, what are you running again for sticks and stand?
I'm running the Lone Wolf stuff. I got the Alpha Hang On and the Lone Wolf steps.
You find that pretty efficient, don't you?
Yeah, and I mean, I know I guess I could experiment and try some other things, but I'm kind of cheap, and I've spent enough money on this one the first time, and I kind of got my system down, so I probably could be a little more efficient, and for that matter, save a little bit of weight if I experimented with a few things. But to me, it's not worth the money to have all the multiples just to try to figure it out again. I'm just going to run what I got.
Right. Cameron, what do you think is the biggest challenge in mobile hunting?
Just staying with it, kind of, because it does seem like a lot whenever you first start doing it, and it just seems like a lot of extra work. And when you're, you know, 20 or 30 days deep and you haven't shot a buck yet, you're doing all this extra work. I mean, it seems very, very taxing. But once it pays off, or, you know, once you look back on a season and be like, well, you know, I did see a lot of deer, or I did see a lot more deer, or, you know, I learned this or learned that, you know. Oh yeah, I think it all pays off then, you know.
And that's where I'm at with it too. I mean, one of the things I'm fighting with in my head is I've always been a set stand guy. Set them up, you know, in the spring or summer, and then that's where you hunt. And then if you have to move accordingly, you take a stand down, you get a little bit of mobile, and you go hang it. But like I said, like, it just seems like I shouldn't say so much work, but it seems like, I don't know, and I think it's just like you said, Cameron, a little intimidating, because, you know, I haven't really done it like exclusively before, and trying to get in tight and be quiet. Like, I want to be able to, not that I would, but I want to be able to, like, get out of work, and if I have to run to my stand and just get in, I want to be able to do that, you know, like, get to the tree and climb up and you're good. So I guess that's kind of what I'm fighting with the most. But every time I turn around, I see these guys everywhere, you know, just, you know, getting on deer and being mobile 100% of the time, and I'm fighting with it, man. I just don't know what the roadblock is.
Hey man, you killed the biggest deer of your life because you were mobile this year.
I did. Yes, I did.
I mean, I'm not trying to. It's funny, but I mean, I just want to point it out. I don't know if you've thought about it that way before, but
I get that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
it definitely pays off. I mean,
yeah.
But you know, it's all what you want. You know, it's as a hunter, like what your goals are and all that. Like, you got to start weighing out your options if it's worth it. You know.
Right.
Right.
Do you guys see there ever being a time where you could be too mobile, if that makes sense? Like, maybe not giving one area enough time?
I would say no.
No. I mean, I think because it's still basic knowledge. Like, I mean, once you kind of know a farm or know or you've hunted enough, you kind of know like what spots are probably going to be hot wind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And trail cameras are a game changer when it comes to that.
Yep. Cameron, you're not hunting many mornings, right? You're not a big morning hunter, right?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, in farmland, I feel like it does a little bit more harm.
Yep.
But no, I don't hunt a whole lot of mornings. I do hunt a few mornings, but it's not, you know, it's sometimes none.
Yep. Right. No, I get that, and I totally understand what you're saying, Justin. But when you go in the morning, I mean, you're hanging and hunting every morning, right?
Yeah, I prefer the morning if I can get myself out of bed. I'll take a morning hunt over an evening hunt every day, every time if I have the choice. Number one, because the potential for recovery increases, and I'm filming every one of my hunts, so I want to know that I've got recovery light in the event that I do kill. Now, I'm not saying I don't hunt afternoons, but if I had the choice, I would take a morning hunt.
Yeah, that's the only downfall to let's say like hunting evenings is the footage, because I also film and the footage isn't always the best, you know.
Yeah.
Or you gotta wait all night and you would come in the next day and coyotes ate him, or yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's not an easy thing to leave.
No.
I don't know. I always feel like, I mean, Aaron, to go back to your question, I don't want to say from experience, but more times than not, I've had the best hunts I've had in the first sit. So to say that I could be too mobile and not give it enough time, that's a big factor in me saying no, because I think your best chances are every time you make a new decision and you move, whether it's 20 yards or 200 yards, it's like a new hunt every time.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that, yeah. It's fighting it, because I know that you could be very successful at it, and I know, and it's kind of exciting, kind of something new, you know what I mean? And you know, you get to go to some areas that you normally wouldn't probably go in, you know, possibly, but it's just something new. And I think, like Cameron, like you said, you know, once you seal the deal, it, you know, makes everything all the better. It's like that much more rewarding, and I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I mean, the first time that it worked for me, I mean, I was just like, yeah, it was almost like, well, why the hell haven't I been doing this forever, you know? And then the more you get into it, you start thinking back on deer, like, man, I could have killed him.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally get that. And, you know, I actually listened to a podcast, and these guys were talking about how the deer were actually moving their trails. He could literally see their trails from year to year moving farther and farther away from their stands, because their stands were in the same trees. They're entering the same way every year after year. And he's like, that was like the deciding factor for him to be like, I need to move and get a little mobile and, you know, keep these deer guessing. But he could like distinctly see the trails moving. Yeah. So that was his deciding factor. And that kind of was a light bulb moment. Like, maybe that's something I might be doing wrong, you know, hunting the same areas the same way every time, and, you know, maybe try something a little different. Have you guys experienced that at all?
I mean, yeah, when I was hunting, when I was just hanging stands and just hunting out of stands like that, over like a 2 or 3 year time span, you can really see a difference. Because, like, say you blow does out on October 5th, and there's like 4 or 5 does. Okay, well, you do it again on October 20th. Okay, well, by November, your does are gone, so which means your bucks are gone. You know.
Yep.
And just stuff like that you kind of pick up on, and you know, it's when you do find out, you're like, dude, what the heck were you thinking?
Yep. What are some of the biggest benefits to mobile hunting, do you think?
Yeah, positives are you're going to see a lot more deer. It's going to seem like you're messing up a lot more, but you kind of are, but you're not really, because you're learning. I mean, that's one thing you got to think about, is you're going into a whole different other type of hunting. So, but the positives to it are you're going to see a lot more deer. You'll get to hunt new places, almost every single sit. And you really pick up on deer a lot more, like, just their movements, their language, all this stuff, like because you're seeing more deer, you're getting deeper in, you're going after, bedding or, food, whatever you're doing, you're tackling it and you're going at it. You're not just sitting back and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Right. And that, to go back to what you said, you don't get a lot of time to hunt. So you want to be somewhat aggressive and just get in and go. And that's kind of, in my realm, that's kind of the same way. I don't get a lot of time to hunt just because I'm gone most of the time. I got to hunt quite a bit this year, but, not every year is like that either. So that's one of the other deciding factors. It's like, okay, let's be a little aggressive from get-go. Be smart, but be a little aggressive and get in there and make some moves that you normally wouldn't make,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, transitioning a little bit, I want to get into, earlier I was talking about changes that you've been doing, Cameron, this year. And you mentioned off record that you sold all your compound stuff. Now, you're strictly trad. You have no compound stuff to your name. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I don't have any compounds to my name. I'll take that back. My cousin gave me my uncle's 1977 or 76 Bear Polar the other day. But no, I don't have any compounds.
That's crazy, man. So other than you kind of making a goal for killing, your target buck last year and saying, that I was going to go trad if you did that. Other than that, like what made you want to go trad? Just a new experience, I guess, what would you call it? I'm losing train of thought here.
Challenge.
A new challenge? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's I love the challenge of just anything that's going to challenge me and push me to be better. I just like it, and I've had four good solid years hunting here, and I'm just ready for a change, man. And plus I misspoke one night, after one or two adult beverages, and said that I was going to go trad if I shot my target buck. So I shot my target buck on January 3rd, and so at that point I sold my compounds. It was probably 2 or 3 weeks later I sold it, and the whole time I had my dad's old bear grizzly, and I was kind of just like messing with it since like October probably, and that's what kind of started the whole combo. But yeah, man, it's kind of wild. There's days that I'm really pissed that I sold my compounds, and there's days I'm there's other days I'm super confident. So
I've got this pint glass from a brewery in Lake Placid, New York. It says it's got a quote on it. I think Teddy Roosevelt said, "Always do sober what you said you'd do drunk, and that'll teach you to keep your mouth shut." So sorry to digress there, but it reminded me of that.
So, I mean, you're going trad, which is sweet, and have a new challenge and try to achieve some new goals and everything. But like, what has been the biggest hurdle? I mean, you haven't been shooting trad very long, right? So like, what's been your biggest hurdle so far? I see you're shooting like every day. On social media, you're shooting a lot. So you got to be getting better. I mean, are you just teaching yourself? And what's been the biggest challenge?
Yeah, well, so I shot trad for a little bit when I was younger, and my cousin was really good at it, and I was kind of, and I'd spend my summertime like every summer with him, and he would shoot with me, and he taught me a lot, and then I just I was into chasing bigger deer back then even, so I went with the safe route and just shot I gun hunted, I bow hunted everything, and I didn't really want to stop myself from killing a really big deer, because he had these stories of like, man, I had this monster at like 40 yards one day and I couldn't pull it off, and I'm like, that sounds horrible. And
that's where I'm at with it. Like if you're 25, 30, 35 yards, I mean, that's a poke now. I mean, before with a compound, that's a chip shot. That's a 15-yard field goal extra point to win the Super Bowl. What do you got for that, I guess?
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, look, man, I'm going to be confident out to about 25. That's my target. And if I have a giant at 40 yards, it's going to be rough.
Let's go down that lane. If you've got your target buck, 40 yards, feeding out there, not a care in the world, you're good to go. I mean, scenario time, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm smart enough in the meantime to practice at 40 and just kind of see. So I don't know, man. If I feel confident, and confident being at 40 yards, I'm probably in the 80 to 90% chance of killing him, or missing him, just flat out missing him, because that'll probably be exactly what happens. Either you hit him or you completely miss him. So I don't know, man. It'd be rough. It'd be a super hard call. It would have to be like open field, like perfect,
That's tough, man. That's a hard one to really think about. Well, what are you doing right now for practicing? Like, are you just trying to get arrows shot? I mean, are you working on form, or are you just trying to find a groove and just try to, find, I guess you could say, muscle memory, so it's just second nature to you?
Yeah, so working on form was big, and with working on form, I was going through a lot of different bows, just buying bows like crazy, and just finding a bow that really fit me. And I found one, and from there I just been, really focused on form, really focused on, not shooting the same yardage too much, always changing it up, shooting out of stands, shooting, sitting down, pretty much everything I can do, to just get better. And like I said, there's days, man, where I'm out there on fire and I'm like, dude, I've got this. And then the very next day I'll shoot and I'll be, just slinging arrows, and I'm like, this is horrible. Like, what the hell is that?
When you're picking out a bow, let's get into this a little bit. When you're picking out a trad bow, let's say you're just starting, you're pretty novice at it. Like, what do you recommend? I mean, I know there's a ton of different lengths, sizes, poundages. Like, what are you looking for, and what do you recommend to buy?
Well, first off, you want to figure out how long your draw length is, and you base your bow size off that. And so basically, find what size bow you need, or around that same size, and it can differ. I mean, you can shoot a smaller bow and not have a problem, but just do that, and then go and then test out a lot of bows. I mean, grip is everything to me. It's got to feel good.
Yep.
And so you'll find that you'll go through a lot of bows, and even bows, you can buy the same model bows from 10 or 12 years, 20, maybe a 20-year difference, and the grip is completely different.
Yep.
And so just figure out a bow that feels really, really good, and then start working on form. Get on YouTube, and there's tons of videos out there show you how to form, arrow, how to pick arrows, anything that you want to know.
What's your setup looking like? Like, what's your bow specs and arrow specs and all that stuff?
So I kind of got into buying old bear bows, and really, really hung up on that.
Okay.
And so my hunting bow is a 1957 Kodiak, and it's 64 inches. It's 47 pounds at 28-inch draw.
And so and that's like, I mean, that's an old bow. And it's, yeah. I mean, has it had to be refurbished at all? Like, I don't know a lot about trad. So like, what do you have to do with limbs and all that stuff? Like, is it still in pretty good shape? I mean, how do you even like, service a trad bow that's that old?
Yeah, I mean, well, this one is in very, very, very good shape, and I'll only hunt with it this season, and then I'll just put it up, and I'll either see if somebody can make me a bow exactly like it, or find the next best thing. But it's in really good shape, man. I had to do some stuff to quiet it down and get it tuned up, but as far as finish goes, as far as the actual bow itself, super, super solid.
I got you. So what arrow setup? You got a heavy ass arrow? Is that what you're running? I mean, what kind of broadhead are you looking at?
I'm shooting. I weighed it the other day. It's like 650 grain, and it's. So I started reading about that stuff, and got really caught up in arrow weight, and a lot of these guys are shooting like 65-pound bows, and I'm like, that's crazy. My shoulder would be shot,
Yep.
And so I wanted to go to a little bit heavy arrow setup, and I'm shooting carbon arrows. And my first batch of arrows I had made up with 5-inch feathers, but I'm going to go with 4-inch trap vanes on this next setup.
All right. So and then what broadhead are you using then?
Broadhead, I'm going to use a grizzly stick. It's 125 grain, two blade.
I got you. So you're throwing a Lincoln log out there. I mean, you're throwing a Mack truck. Really, that's a pretty big arrow.
Yeah, because I know what's going to happen, man. Is I'm going to have a target buck come in. I'm going to hit that damn shoulder blade.
Yep.
So I want to be ready for that.
Yep. I mean, what's your plans this year? I know you got a buck that you were telling me about last time. I mean, you're looking for him. Did he make it through? Did you find his sheds? What's the deal with him?
Yeah, so he made it. I found his match set like 2 weeks ago. And he's not going to be a giant, man. I mean, he'll be a good, respectable, probably mid-50s deer. But be a hell of a trap buck.
Dude, you're just totally different than me, because that's a giant to me.
Yeah.
You're he's not gonna be a giant. He'll be like mid-50s. Like, I mean, nothing that big. I mean, man,
150 is a big deer. I'm sorry, it really is. But
I know we're not all on your status, like killing giants every year. 60s, 70s.
I just gotten lucky twice. But yeah, man. I mean, and my goal is in both states that I'm hunting this year. I might be hunting a third, but is anything 140 inches and better, I'm probably shooting it.
For your first trad buck, you wouldn't. It's got to be 140.
Or damn close.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean, that's just in both areas that I hunt. That's going to be. It's not really the size, but that's a good 4-year-old buck.
Yep.
Or better,
Yep.
So that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't want to go shoot. I mean, I know the first 3-year-old that walks in at 130, I'm going to be just blood pumping. But
and you're going to shoot it.
No, I don't know. Hopefully not, man. But I mean, YOLO.
I'm going to text you every night of the season and say, hey, your 3-year-old's coming by you tonight at like 6:30. Get ready, you're going to shoot it. And I'm just going to keep feeding that giant. Like, you shoot that first 130, it comes by you, just shoot him. Just shoot him. I'm going to be that little guy on your shoulder just giving you encouragement. Just do it. Just do it.
I mean, that'll probably keep me more focused than anything. So please do that.
Oh, man. You're going to be outfitting all year. You're not even going to get a chance to hunt. Let's be honest.
No, trust me. I set up the schedule. I got plenty of time to hunt. Last year, see, I didn't, and that's what kind of hurt me, man. That's why I didn't come on deer until late. But this year, I got it set up. Each year you kind of work out, kinks.
Yep. It's good to work for yourself, so that's always nice.
Yes, sir.
What's the third state on the docket this year?
Oh, so I have a buddy who lives in Indy, and he has some killer farms to hunt. And he kind of, wants me to come out there and film with him. And I'm like, dude, if I have time to film, he's like, if you do come film, I'll let you shoot it. He's like, I'll let you shoot anything you want, pretty much. I'm like, I'm not going to shoot you. Come on, man.
Yep.
But if I do go out there and hunt, it'll probably be later, and it'll just be for fun. I mean, I'm not really counting on shooting anything, but if I'll for sure shoot a doe.
Right. Yep. I'm actually glad you brought that up, because Indiana is like something that's kind of been on my bucket list for some odd reason, but to be able to go, somewhere 3-4 hours away from my house where I can hunt a long weekend. I don't know a lot about the state, don't know any good areas in it. I want to learn more, but Justin, I haven't even asked you this. I mean, have you ever hunted Indianapolis? No, have you hunted Indianapolis? No, Indiana. Have you ever hunted Indiana at all?
No, I haven't, but I know it's one of the first places you can hunt. You have a really good chance of shooting velvet whitetails in their archery season. If you want to start hunting, I don't remember if it starts in August, late August or early September, but
Indiana starts that early?
I believe it does. My buddy Brad Beaver killed almost a 185, I think it was, last year out there.
Really? I didn't know they started that early. That's crazy.
It can't be August, but it is early.
Probably September.
I know they for sure have giants over there, though.
Oh, they do.
What, Cameron, what area are you talking about going to?
Yeah, that I don't know. I know he lives in actual Indy. So he
gotcha. Okay.
So he said it's like an hour from there. So I mean, I didn't really dig too deep.
I gotcha. Yep. Have you ever hunted Indy before?
No, no, but I've wanted to the last 4 or 5 years to use you guys killing slobs over there.
I mean, hammers, dude. It's like one of the biggest sleeper states, I feel like. And I was looking at the tag prices. The tag prices are pretty cheap. Like, I feel like they're only like $290 or something like that. Does that sound right for a non-resident?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's really not that much because, I mean, states that you wouldn't think cost that much to hunt cost crazy money to hunt.
I know it.
Yeah. I'll tell you another good one that's I'm probably going to – I don't know, I'm giving up my secrets here, but as far as the sleeper state goes, Wisconsin. You get into the bluff country of Wisconsin for a non-resident. If you're hunting for the first time, a non-resident archery license is $80.
That's unbelievable.
Dang.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, same with gun. Like, I've been bow hunting Wisconsin for 5 years, and then I gun hunted for the first time this year, and it was $80 again. So even though I'm in the system, it's whatever season you're buying for the first time is $80. And I got five deer tags for Wisconsin gun season for $80.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm going to Wisconsin next year.
Yep.
Let it be known right now. I'm going.
Yeah,
I've hunted bigger deer in Wisconsin than I have knowingly hunted in Iowa the last 2 years.
Find some public. I know they got some good public too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get about 2 weeks for this fall. I know where I'm going.
That's another one that starts early. Their archery season starts like September 15th or something like that.
I might have to start looking into a September hunt, Wisconsin public land.
Dude,
I got some relatives that live over there too. Probably I should figure out if there's any public close to them and just stay with them.
I'm telling you, you can really extend your season if you're willing to travel a little bit. And if for the money to be able to hunt in September for $80, and their archery season goes all the way through like the middle of January.
Dang. I mean, it's cheap enough to just do it. I mean, even if you go once.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yep. Absolutely. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Maybe I should delete this out of the podcast so nobody else knows it's $80.
Yes, save that.
Yep. Cut that out. I'm not telling you where to go. It's a big state.
I'll have to find some public and get over there and go hunting. I've been wanting to do some public out of state, so maybe that's where I go.
I mean, so let's talk about that, Aaron. Like, what are you gonna do this year since you just had like the most kick-ass season ever?
Everybody says that, man. I had a good year. I mean, just trying to stay humble over
here.
He goes. No, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. I've got a Michigan bear tag. I've waited 12 years to pull a Michigan bear tag. I've got 12 points. The only thing with that is our season's in September. So we're usually in Alaska or Yukon or something like that hunting. So I haven't been able to do that. But, with this COVID stuff going on, if it keeps even going, through the summer, Alaska, they're closing their bear season already. And, a lot of people are closing fishing season. And so I literally have no idea what I'm going to do yet other than Michigan next year. like I said, I want to try to branch out a little bit, maybe do Indiana, now maybe Wisconsin, which would be nice. But as of right now, I mean, those are the kind of the two that are really intriguing. Possibly Kansas again, but that's a draw. So, and it's getting harder and harder to get a tag in Kansas. And since I pulled one last year, I probably won't pull one this year. I have no idea. So right now, focusing a lot on Michigan, my family farm. I've been breaking that down even farther, and that's why I wanted to talk about the mobile thing. I want to get a little bit mobile up there. It's a bigger chunk. Get in some areas that I have never been into, hunt them a little differently. That's as of right now in April. That's my plan, and it's subject to change. I mean, I've been working home for 5 weeks now, so we're all doing Skype calls with all the coworkers and everything. So, like tags and where we're hunting has kind of been the last thing on our minds right now. Just trying to get through this damn pandemic right now. But I don't know if I was getting an invite to Kentucky, I would love to come to Kentucky. I've been trying to come there the last couple of years, but I just haven't got an invite.
Oh, this guy. Hey man, you're more than welcome. Heck, why don't you ask Alex, man? I try to put him on a deer all season.
What is his deal, dude? I'm gonna talk about him. I know he'll probably listen to this. I'm gonna talk about him behind his back. Does he smell bad or something?
No, man. Listen, that's my dude, man. He grinds, dude. You want to talk about a dude that freaking hang and bangs? That dude pours his heart and soul into it.
He does, man.
And, I mean, he hunts his butt off, dude. And I tried so hard to help him out this year, and it seemed like I just kept running into problems. Deer moving or people literally gun hunters trespassing or standing right on the fence row with shotguns 20 yards behind Alex, just staring out there.
Yep.
Dude, come on,
Dude,
he just had a lot of bad luck, man. He I don't know. I felt for him all season.
I talked to him a little bit throughout the fall. Of all the guys I know, he is the grinder out of everybody, literally that I know. Dude. He hunts his butt off, and it's paid off for him. He's killed some great deer over the years, and this year, I felt bad for him. I mean, he was trying to carve out, it seemed like from, a social standpoint when I was looking at him on social media, he was trying to carve out 2-3 days where he could come down to your place or go somewhere and just get on him. And I commend him because he went right down to the wire. I mean, he took her to the last minute of hunting and, just things did not pan out. I felt for him, man. I really did.
Dude, he was at my house on the last day of season. And I mean, I felt so bad because we were on some great deer, man. I had probably 5 to 6 different shooters lined up, and just one thing after another, man. Just horrible winds, and trying to get him down from down here, period. And once he's here for the wind and weather to be perfect, I mean, come on, that's asking way too much.
Yeah, right. And then late season, you never know what the weather's going to do. When you get that far into the season, it's snow one day, rain the next, sunny, really warm to really cold. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but man, just watch out because this year he's on 2 studs. I promise you.
He'll kill him. I know he will. I had him on. I think it was last year. I think that dude just knows how to get on some big deer, and he, like you said, he's just a grinder. He is. He goes at it harder than anybody I know.
Well, I don't invite nobody to my house to hunt, and and me and him started talking probably 2 years ago. We hit it off. We started hanging out, and then we actually hunted, and it was just dude, he's that is my dude, And he's the one editing all my videos and everything. So
I got you. Good deal. Did you get your deer on camera this year? Your big one you killed?
Yeah, so it was on GoPro because when I shot him, it was on January 3rd. It was 53 outside and pouring rain.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yep.
Yeah, so I didn't want to have my big camera out, so it's all GoPro footage. But I mean, it's about as good as GoPro footage as you can get, I would say.
Yep, I got you. I know we're coming up here on an hour, boys. Is there anything else you guys want to cover? I'm up for anything.
So are you going to kill a bigger deer this year?
No, I'm not. I hope I do. But I'll tell you what, I think I might have outdone myself. I don't think I'll kill one again that big.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I honestly, I've been going around and around with, not round and round, but I've been talking to a lot of guys, and it's been a big thing going on, I feel like, right now. And Justin and I've talked about it before, and the hunting industry as a whole, and, trying to kill, big deer and everything, and, hunters bashing other hunters for doing things that they feel like are not, right, even though they're ethical and legal. Maybe it's for killing a deer of lesser caliber, and it's like I'm
right.
just getting so sick of it, man.
That's why my out-of-state buckeye shot this year was like a 120-inch deer, dude, and he was 3, and I didn't care because I was pumped.
Yeah, and that's what I ask a lot of guys too. Like, what's your goals? Like, what's your goals going into the season? Like, is it a harvest goal? Is it an inch goal? Is it an age goal? And I kind of got to step back and ask myself that. Like, what are my goals? And it's like, I don't know really. Like, I've got an idea. Like, I want to kill a 3-year-old in Michigan. That's my goal. The inch, I really don't care. But honestly, I might kill a 2-year-old. If that deer comes at me and I'm like, holy crap, that's a good deer, I'm gonna shoot him, and I end up getting up to him and he looks like he's a baby, so be it. Like, initially, when you get that initial feeling like, yep, that's the one. Yep, he's going to go home with me. That's kind of what I'm going off of in a way. But I do have a set goal, a 3-year-old, like I said, and then, going out of state, I want it to be a 4-year-old. And that's where I'm at with it right now. So it's just, the hunter on hunter hazing and bashing and stuff like that. I'm just sick of it. I mean, I don't know. It's getting sickening, and it's tiring. There's like guys out there, keyboard warriors, just nothing else better to do, man, but put other people down.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad because like you can't. I mean, if you shoot a deer with a gun now or anything, you just get bashful, and it's like, what the heck?
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it. And Justin and I had this conversation too, because Justin, your Wisconsin buck, it was the one in the snow, right? In the Wisconsin one?
Yeah.
Yep. And I remember, we were talking about it and everything. And I think you even, I don't know if, I can't remember what you said, kind of alluded to like, it wasn't the biggest deer or whatever, but you were super pumped for that deer. And I remember,
oh God,
I remember you saying, something like, yeah, he wasn't the biggest, but like, dude, he got me so jacked up. And I'm like, yes, like that's what I'm talking about. Like, you're still a great deer. I mean, that deer was probably, I don't know how old, from the pictures, I thought he was probably at least a 4 or 5-year-old deer.
Yeah, his head's still in the garage. He's waiting for a boiling pot. But I planned on pulling his teeth to age him, but he was by far the oldest deer I saw in 8 straight days of hunting. And he happened to be the one that walked within range.
Yep.
I mean, I was pumped. I really was. Like, I killed 2 deer this year, one in Iowa, one in Wisconsin, that, I mean, anybody else might say are mediocre. They're just clean 8 points, that walked in range, in frame, in focus. But I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm covering ground. I'm hunting as much as I possibly can.
Yep.
There's people that would kill for this chance, and it's not that I'm ungrateful for that. I hunted my balls off this year. I hunted 12 straight days in Iowa, and then 8 straight days, so 20 straight days. I mean, you know how that is. And I got lucky. I'm not passing up opportunities when animals work. I mean,
yep,
I'll let a 1.5 old go, or a 2.5. If it's private land, if there's management goals, like, I'll play by the rules. But man, I'm over the inches game. I've got 6 applications in this year. I'm going 100% in on deer all over the country. No elk, and maybe no bears if Montana sticks to their closed season. But I'm just covering country, man. I'm going to shoot every one I can.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I started scouting public more. Which out of state I've always hunted public, but here I've never shot a public buck here. So I started, that's scouting on public thing. It's cool, man. Like you don't ever know what's going to walk in, and when you're hunting, private parcels like I've been for the past five or 6 years, it's just you kind of know, if you see a buck, you kind of know who it is, and you kind of expect to see him.
Yep.
Cameron, with all your stuff over the past 5 or 6 years, really getting on good deer and killing some solid bucks, have you been getting any backlash or anything for any small minute things that people just come out of the woodwork of like, you shouldn't have shot that deer, or anything? Like, have you been getting any of that or seen any of that, or like I don't know, how are you combating that?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, all it comes from a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. Social media, YouTube, all this stuff. People. The thing you have to realize when you start putting out videos is people are going to bash everything.
Oh yeah.
It don't matter what you do. Somebody will have something bad to say about it. So you just kind of got to take that for what it is and know that, hey, I'm putting myself out there. There's going to be people that are doing that. But as long as as long as you stay true to what you want to do and don't ever lose focus of that and just keep on moving. I mean, and as long as you're doing everything right, you're I don't see anything wrong with what anybody's doing.
100%. I agree.
It seems like anything you do, man. I mean, if you shoot a deer at 35 yards and hit the back of lungs and liver, like, oh my God, there's 40 dudes in the comments like, that was the most horrible shot I ever seen. Like, it happens.
Yep.
Yeah. No, they pride themselves on being the one who points out the wrong. They think like if you're putting video out there, it's because you got something to hide and you want to look better than you are. So they take every chance they can to try to be the one who points it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think what it all stems from is jealousy, and I'm not trying to make anybody out there jealous. Anybody can have a YouTube channel now. Anybody can have social media channels. Everybody's got a smartphone. They can take videos and pictures. I'm not trying to make anybody jealous, and I don't want to come across as an expert at anything. And hopefully if I do, I want somebody to like put me in my tracks, because that's not what I'm trying to do. The deer that I killed in Kansas this year, I thought he was a 4-year-old, probably a 3-year-old, but that was not the deciding factor. When I looked at that deer, I'm like, that's the deer I want to kill. Like I knew right off the bat. And when I walked up on him, never once did I have a thought like, oh my gosh, he's small, or something, or a ground shrinkage or something. He probably, I haven't even put a tape on him. He was at the taxidermist. He'll probably go like 115, 120 maybe. And the thing is I never once ever thought like, how am I going to make him look bigger in pictures? I didn't care because of the experience I had, the footage that we got, the memories I just made. Like that was it. Like that's all that I cared about. And I'm not gonna lie to you. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was the guy saying, I don't want the neighbors to shoot this deer. I don't want my guy that I have a lease with shooting this deer. And I'm like, I look back at that guy that I was, and I would like, I want to plant one between his lookers. Like, who are you to say, you can shoot this deer or that deer, and that's just, I don't know. I just hate it. Like, why can't everybody just be happy for one another? And I'm not trying to downplay any guy out there that's like, I only want to kill big deer. That's fine. That is your prerogative. Do what you got to do. But don't sit there and downplay the 115-inch deer that I shot then. You know what I mean? Because you have no idea what situation I'm in or what memory I just made. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Rant over for me. Take it from there, boys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. We've kind of, I grew up hunting without trail cameras, anything like that, and I didn't even run my first trail camera until I was like 22. And
I still don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I run a bunch now, but I mean, it's even that though, like it kind of goes back to what I said, where like it just seems like it takes a little bit of fun out of it because you kind of know what you're going to see, you know.
Yep.
And the way I kind of beat that is by just chasing one specific deer. No matter what other deer I see, bigger or not, I shoot that single deer. You know, I think I've kind of, formed into that. But now that I'm back to scouting public and putting in time there and all that, like it's kind. And then shooting trad, it just kind of makes you feel like you're like, 14, like 14 or 15, and you just.
Like you're starting all over again.
Yeah, it's just fun again, and you have this sense of, you just want to go have fun,
Yep, for sure. I totally get it, man.
And I feel like stuff like that's important because I feel like guys who go on these big ego trips and stuff that do put a bad name on stuff, they don't ever take time to kind of like reset, and
I agree.
And just go have fun. They get too caught up in what they have to do and not what they want to do, And I've always told myself my goal is to challenge myself.
And that's I totally agree with you because, on the deer, my big deer this year that I killed in Iowa, I had a lot of pressure on me, and it wasn't any pressure from anyone else but myself. And it's just because I'm one of the most competitive people there are. And I tried to tell my wife this because she's not really, she's competitive, but she's not like to my level. You know what I mean? Like, and I tell her, like, competitiveness to me, you can't shut it off. If we're going out to skip rocks, I'm going to try to skip a rock farther than you or get more skips. It's, but at the end of the day, if I lose, in my age now, it's not going to be like I'm going to kick and scream and whine and stuff like that. But like, I want to try to better myself. So like, when I went to Iowa, I knew I was only going to get about 6 to 7 to possibly 8 days to hunt in Iowa. And this is the holy grail. I mean, everybody talks about it. I've waited 4 years for this tag. I wanted to kill something that I would never be able to get an opportunity at home in Michigan. And I put a lot of pressure on myself. If you guys saw the video, I had big deer within 15 yards a couple times and could not get it done for one thing or another. And then that was another thing. Like there's guys making comments like, oh, can't get the shot off 10 yards, within 10 yards on a big deer or whatever, what the heck? And it's like, dude, you weren't there, man. Like, if I had the opportunity, a little better opportunity, more ethical, I would have taken the shot. But, I had a lot of pressure on myself, and honestly, it was all self-inflicted. This is a goal I wanted for myself. When I was a little kid, I never thought hunting Iowa was going to be a realistic thing. And now it is. Here I am doing it like the people I looked up to on TV watching, when I was growing up, and that was it. And it was a lot. And after seeing that deer that morning go out of my sight for probably the last time, I thought I literally wanted to jump out of the tree. I know everybody says that, but like I wanted to jump and just be done with it. I was that far gone, and then, you just got to fight it and get yourself back. But like, I never once want to outdo Justin, or I don't want to outdo Cameron. Like I never once like, I got to kill a buck because all my buddies are doing it. It's never crossed my mind. It's always something that's self-inflicted, challenge and a goal I want to reach. Is that the same for you guys?
Yeah, it's 100% the same for me. My goals are my goals, personal goals. They're not, I don't have a goal to shoot bigger deer than anybody. I got goals to shoot deer for me. And whatever one I choose it's going to be is what it's going to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I think all this is kind of new in the fact that, there's a lot more people self-filming and putting themselves out there. But it's kind of like, I don't watch sports, but if you pay attention to the guys who watch, the sports on Saturday, and they're sitting there yelling at the screen, telling the team what they should be doing,
Yep.
And it's like, well, if you knew what they should be doing, why aren't you out there?
Exactly.
And it's just, you just kind of got to think about it like that. When all these people are watching this, that's the type of view that they have on it. And we live in a weird era here where we have a lot of, old school hunters and a lot of these new guys that are trying this, filming stuff, and, the older age guys are starting to watch YouTube and get all this, and they just don't understand a lot of it. And they think if you're putting out videos and doing this, you're trying to showboat, or you're trying to, it's just dumb stuff like that.
Well, and to go with a little bit on that, like the day and age now, I mean, there's podcasts, there's YouTube, like you said, there's social media. Back in the day, when we started hunting 12, 13, 14 years old, there was none of that. I mean, there's kids, I've got nieces and nephews that are 9, 10 years old that have an iPhone now. I didn't get my first flip phone until I was 16, until I could start driving, and it's like, makes me sound really old, but, there's a lot more eyeballs on things now. And I think with a lot of podcasts in general and, TV and YouTube, there's a lot of things that are like, it's got to be this, this, and this. And if you don't do it that way, you're not accepted, or
right.
There's almost like there's this regimen written somewhere that it's like you have to do it that way. And I kind of get sucked up in it. I think everybody does in a way, but at the end of the day, do what works best for you. I mean, if I try to do things that Mark Drury does on his farm in Iowa, I'm not going to lie to you, they're not going to work for me, because that just does not work here in Michigan, No. So it's like, I don't know, you just got to take what you have and kind of take all the stuff that you consume, whether it's podcasts, YouTube, anything, all the information you consume, and you kind of got to boil it down to what works for you. That's the best way I can describe it and take it myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Rant over again. But we're getting kind of lengthy on this, boys. I know it's been a good conversation. I appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah, of course.
Cameron, it's always a pleasure to have you on, man. We'll have to do it again. You'll probably be like be on 4th and 5th time, just because you're good guest to have on, and you keep doing extraordinary things like selling your compound bow to go trad. I mean, what the heck? Come on, I'm gonna be a hater on you right now.
Yeah, hey, you might as well just join everybody else.
No, man.
And of course, I got guys saying I got compounds in my closet and stuff, and I'll pull it out in like mid-season. I'm like, I don't have anything.
I commend you, man. I think you're doing a cool thing, and hopefully it pays off for you this year. And hey, you might be an inspiration, because the thing is I think trad's coming back around. You know what I mean? It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool again, like the public land thing. Trad's the next one. It's coming.
Right. I mean, and that's kind of a good and bad thing, but it is what it is.
Yep. I get it, man. Well, cool, boys. I appreciate you doing this. And Cameron, always, it's a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yep, thank you.